Welcome back. This video is to introduce the connector components and the snapping feature of the Advanced Framework Core. Snapping is extremely useful if you want to enable the player to place actors neatly on a surface or on each other. For example, to hang this picture at the wall or to place this plant on the table. Most of the logic behind snapping comes from the connector components, of which the Advanced Framework Core provides 3 in this hierarchy. The parent component up here consolidates common logic and is not meant for use in any applications. The surface connector component is used to place actors on surfaces, as I just did with the picture, and it is the topic of this video. The anchor connector component allows you to be more specific with placing the actor. It works in conjunction with an anchor component, and I will show you how it is set up in another video. Just a few words on how connector components work first. Upon grab, the connector component starts a trace search, which in case of the surface connector searches for a flat surface. Finding one within the search distance, it spawns a helper which among other functions marks the location with a hologram. And upon release, the actor is placed on the location of the hologram, allowing for nice and easy placement of the actor. Now, how to set this up? Let's try the shelf over here. We want to grab it and place it on the wall. It already has a grab component, as you can see, so now let's add the surface connector. For better visualization, let's also add an arrow component to the connector. Now we can see where its forward vector is pointing to and position it so that its forward vector is orthogonal to the side of the mesh that should touch the surface. Now let's have a look at the settings. Rotate to surface instructs the actor to rotate with the connector towards the wall or floor automatically, depending on what we put in there. We want to place the shelf at the wall, so let's choose rotate to wall to make things a bit easier for us. The next 2 booleans regulate snap and physics, since the physics release type of the grab component can interfere with the snap. To prevent this, you need to set the should be active even with physics boolean to true, which ensures the snap proceeds despite the physics release type. And if you want physics to kick in after the snap, you can also set the other boolean here to true. In our case, however, this means the shelf will fall after the snap, so it's not a very advisable setting in this case. Now we come to the tags, which are really helpful, especially for the surface connector. If we keep none here, any flat surface is okay for the connector. However, we explicitly want to hang the shelf on the wall. So we can add the tag wall here as required tag and tag the wall in the level accordingly. Now only the wall is recognized by the connector as suitable surface and all other surfaces are ignored. The wall rotation adjustment is another useful setting if you want to place an actor at the wall. Let's go to the mesh of the shelf to show you how. As you can see from the pivot, the x-axis of the mesh is anti-parallel to the forward direction of the connector that I'm going to place. And this is what the connector expects. If that is not the case for your mesh, use the wall rotation adjustment to account for that, to make sure that your mesh is neatly placed on the wall and not in the wall. Lastly, the search distance defines how far the trace of the surface connector goes searching for a flat surface, starting from the surface connector, of course. You might have to play around with that a bit to ensure that the surface connector finds something but does not spam the player with possible locations. So let's try what we created. As you can see, when I grab the shelf with the laser, it rotates so the connector points sideways, ready to find a wall. When I move it towards the wall, I tagged, the helper is spawned. Remember that the surface connector has a direction. If I rotate the shelf so the connector points away from the wall, it won't find anything, obviously. Finally, the hologram in place, I can release the shelf and it snaps to the wall and stays there. With that, you should be up to speed regarding the surface connector. Just so you know, you can use it for any flat surface, even the ceiling. And you can also tag specific actors like this table as a location as long as their mesh has a sufficiently large flat surface. That's what I've done for this plant, for example. As you can see, it's to be placed on the table, not on the floor. If you want to get even more specific, I suggest you use an anchor connector and anchor component pair, which I am going to introduce to you in the next video. With that, I will sign off. See you soon. Bye bye.